Good morning, my friendliest of friendlies. There's still something so incredibly amazing for me in waking up with the Lord every day. It's continuously, man. It's something else. It just sets like the tempo or the level I feel for the rest of the day. Not a single day if I wake up and I switch off my alarm and I go, "Good morning, Lord. Thank you for another day." Even if I do turn over and snooze a little bit more, it's still the first utterance that comes out of my mouth. And in that quietness, especially when I snooze, in that quietness, sometimes I feel, you know, even if I don't hear words, but I feel God is already starting to get busy with me. Because immediately my mind also kicks in the morning when I wake up. Listen, I got a little bit of work to do this morning. Got a bit of service to do. Got a message to bring. What are we talking about? I don't go to bed always knowing what I'm talking about in the mornings. That happens, and I think that I've realized my shower time. I think is the initiation often, because often I'll catch myself just as I start washing my hair. That's actually the point. Yeah, as I start washing my hair, I'll be like, "What are we talking about this morning, Lord? What's the message for today?" And then there's silence. Other times I keep praying as I continue my daily morning routine. I keep praying. I keep talking to the Lord. Sometimes it's complete and utter silence when I hit my little bit of a music worship session in the mornings. It's silence, And this morning, God brought me back to Elijah in 1 Kings 19, you know, and it made me thought of, this is actually nice. It's where Elijah was running away, or he ran away already to his first stop, or what we can call it, because um, he realized that Jezebel wants to kill him. So that was fun. But God kept him safe, and he came to this place where we actually spoke about this not too long ago, I think, where he came. He says where God said to him in 1 Kings 19 verse 11. He says, "Then he said, 'Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord.' And behold, the Lord passed by, and then a great and strong wind came by, and it shattered the rocks in front of me. Then, after the wind came an earthquake. After the earthquake came fire. And it says here that God was not in the earthquake. God was not in the fire. God was not in the wind. Then the important one that I want to touch on today is where it says, okay, the Lord was not in the fire, but after the fire, a still small voice. And all the translations have a different word over here. Some say a delicate whispering voice, a low whisper, a gentle whisper, a soft whisper. This is the New King James. It says a still small voice. And that made me thought specifically this morning when I remember in my old NG church in Afrikaans, my dominee used to say, kom ons raak 'n bietjie stil voor die Here. It's time to get quiet before the Lord. And I always wondered, I knew why. I knew why, but I always wondered why. What is the utmost significance in this? And the more I read it, the more I come across it, the more I realize this. I have a friend who loves her worship is in silence. She went through the season, I believe, and she's still kind of there, but she went through a season where she shared with me the other day where she used her TV for a little bit background music, and those who have TVs with the numbered volume system would know that a 3 or a 4 on the volume. I don't even know if I could hear it. I don't have a TV at the moment, and I haven't for a while, so I can't even remember what 3 or 4 sounds like, but I'm pretty sure it's nothing. You can't even hear it. And she went through a space, and I don't know why I'm thinking of this, particularly this morning, but where she said like 3 or 4 was too loud for her in this worship time of hers. So to get quiet before the Lord is really phenomenal, because if the Lord speaks to you in a still small voice, any noise is gonna hinder that. We live in this very loud space in life where everything around us is loud. I can't even pick up my phone because I'm looking at it right now. But that thing is the biggest noise in our lives because it takes all our attention. I think I saw a video the other day where people say, based on studies, there's a study that they looked at, or what they are paying attention to at this stage, that I think per year the use of mobile devices per person increases by either 30 or 50 minutes, is one of the two, and that the average person spends about 7 hours on their phone a day at this stage. That's massive. And I can tell you, of that 7 hours, not most of it is spent for the Lord. It'll be social media scrolling your TikTok videos and watching people do funny bloopers and gooders between YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and emails and games and whatever, all this stuff. It's noisy. That's the thing. We live in this noisy world already where everything is a rush and everything needs to happen quick and everything needs to happen fast, and you need to get out there and you need to do your thing. And if you really take a moment and you pay attention, you'd realize that without even realizing it, often you get caught up in all this commotion. And then I thought this morning, when I thought about this, I thought, the people that's saying, I'm just not hearing God. I'm not hearing his voice. I'm not finding out what he's telling me to do. Then this message is straight for you this morning. Is raak 'n bietjie stil voor die Here. Get quiet before the Lord, because God has been whispering to you all along. We just need to get into a little bit of silence, and that getting quiet or making yourself calm and quiet before the Lord, I really feel is supposed to be that, pull yourself towards yourself. Quieten yourself down, calm yourself down. Get into a place of peace, quiet. There's a reason why people go, oh, I just want some peace and quiet in life. Why do those things go together? You can have peace in the chaos. There can be peace in a crazy world that is busy and loud. But they go together because it's a gentle area. We associate that with the gentleness and calmness and coolness. And that's really where it is possible that but I also think everybody's whisper could be different. I, for instance, one of my biggest whispers of the Lord is I get this feeling that the Holy Spirit is just tugging at me. Something points out, and it's often something that I've got to do. Or if I've been questioning a certain breakthrough that hasn't come in my life, sometimes I only realize it later. I know it, I hear it, and then I don't realize it immediately. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. And then a little bit later, I get to a point and it's, oh, wait, but this has been a tugging now for a while, where the instruction, whether it be, listen, every time I think of, then I realize, every time I think of, let's say, there's a part of my body that I'm struggling with that I wanted healing for, then there would have been a pinpoint every time. And I realize that thought immediately brings up that particular pinpointed location. So let's say bodily healing and a day of fast and prayer pops into my mind. Every time I think, Lord, I need this thing healed in my body, boom, my mind goes to fasting and healing. So there's a tugging of the Holy Spirit of me, pushing me in a direction to go do something. And I don't know if anybody else has ever realized something similar, and I'm sure you have, but I think everybody's whispering voice of God is different. But we need to become quiet sometimes. God isn't going to shout at you. He's not going to scream and shout at us. He's not in an earthquake. He's not in a fire. He could be. But I feel those sort of movements of the Lord is showing us his incredible power. He's not going to be harsh with you. And the other thing, when God gets quiet, and there was a place in 2 Chronicles chapter 7 that I also touched on when I was reading this morning, where God said to Solomon, he came into Solomon into a dream, and he said, I'm going to devour the lands, I'm going to close off the heavens, no rains, I'm going to do these things. And that's where this important verse 14 comes in here into Chronicles 7, where it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. So, in order to change, you have to change as well. So it's not that everything that is loud is going to be a wicked thing, but it tends to actually really often be. There's so much stuff out there to distract us from the Lord today, and we really need to pay attention to that. And what are we giving our attention to? Where is our attention? What are we looking at? What are we listening to? What are we speaking? But yeah, that still small space. I want to encourage you today to get into a space where you pull yourself towards yourself. Take a moment. Get quiet before the Lord. Get into complete and utter silence. Switch off the TV. Switch off your phone. Put it one side even. Put it there on the other side. Put it on silent. and listen for the Lord.